Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Corinne and I am a fashion and lifestyle content creator here on YouTube and over on Instagram. So before you go to my Instagram, make sure you like and subscribe here and then go follow me on Instagram because that's where I style everything. That's where everything I talk about is implemented, and especially today, because today we are talking about all things social media. A Q&A. I asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram of what you wanted to have me talk about, just some questions you had in general, and really came through with the questions. So I'm really going to try to get through as much as I can. I don't want this video to be super duper long, but I do want to give you as much information as I can. So we're just going to jump right into it. So if you're really interested, then just keep watching. Okay, so there's a lot of topics here, so I'm just gonna kind of go off of what people have asked, and then I'm just going to kind of explain from there. A lot of them were about like how to ask to be paid proper way, what to do if they only say it's gifting, rates, everyone's is different, all of that. So I will kind of start out with the big topic of money. And let me say this, I'm still learning, and it is not something that like comes to you overnight where you realize, okay, this is how much I'm going to charge, this is how much I'm going to do, whatever. I personally still take on gifting. It really depends on the company. If I really love the company and that's something that's the first time ever working with them, I will take on a gifted collab because I do want to show them that yes, I'm not greedy, but I also spend a lot of time on my work, and you kind of have to make sure that you have a good balance of that. I will say a lot of times companies will try to take advantage of content creators, and that is something that is just in general in the industry. So what my rule of thumb is with that is a lot of times I will get approached on Instagram through a DM from brands to collaborate, and I usually always know that those will be gifted. If a company really wants to set up something with me, especially paid, they will email me. So a lot of times, like I've had in the recent weeks, I've had brands reach out to me over a DM saying they want to work with me, and then I say, yeah, like I'd love to know some more information, and then they say that they're only doing gifting. Most of the time on Instagram, if that is the case, I will always say, unfortunately at this moment I'm not able to take on any more gifting. If you do have a budget for a paid collaboration, I would love to discuss that. If not, totally okay, and I will hope to work with you in the future. That's usually what I say. A lot of times it will come back and say, I'm so sorry, this is a gifting opportunity, because they're reaching out through Instagram. So you kind of have to know that and realize, okay, most of the time Instagram is going to be a gifting opportunity and not like a paid. Some circumstances are very different, but for the most part, if a company really wants to work with you and it is a paid gig and it's through a contract, they're going to email you. So just to know that, in the proper way, if a company emails me saying they would like to work with me, I will always say, yes, I'd love to work with you. Obviously if it's a brand that I really love, and then I will say something like, hi, I'd love to work with your company. At this time, I'm only taking on paid collaborations. So if this is something that is in your budget or you are willing to discuss, I would love to discuss that. And then usually either they will come back and say, absolutely, we'd love to see your rates, or you could send them over. Or they will be upfront and honest saying, no, we can't take on any paid collaborations. And in that case, let's say that it is a brand that you really love. Sometimes I will say, totally understand. I would be willing to work on this collaboration for the first time as a gifted, and then we can go from there and see if the post does well, and then maybe discuss a potential paid. That's only if that's a brand that you really love. I don't do that very often. I'm pretty much firm with the fact that if they don't say they're gonna pay, then that, but a lot of times some brands that I just really love will send me something, or send me saying that they want to send me some PR, or they want to collaborate on, whatever. Social love, I will say yes, but be very cautious of that. Make a list of how many you're taking on, because sometimes it can get really overwhelming. So that is my spiel on being paid. Rates, I wish I could give more advice because I don't have as much advice as I would love to give. I will say I have gone off of the Inspire Inspire Me app, INZ. It's like Inspire but with the Z, and they actually have an Instagram rate calculator that helps me kind of gauge. But for the most part, I kind of go off it in my head, and I know it's really bad and I shouldn't do that, but everyone's is very different, and I don't think there's any like starting number. I don't think that that's like a thing. So unfortunately, I can't give as much as info as I'd want, but definitely go to that Instagram rate calculator and just kind of see like what could be a possibility for that. So that's my spiel on rates. Someone asked how to pitch yourself through email. I have an email template that I created, so if you head over to my Instagram, I will also leave it in the description box below for you to purchase if you'd like. It's $15. It's 6 pages. It gives you a full email template. It gives you a DM template. It gives you a follow-up email template, and it's very beneficial. I've landed tons of paid collabs through this certain email template, so you should definitely invest in it because it is something that I really put my hard work into, and I was very skeptical of putting it on the internet because I have had success from it, but I'm here to help as much as I can, so I will give you that. But yeah, you have to purchase it on my on the link that I'm going to give you. Okay, someone asked how to find paid partnerships rather than just gifting for post collabs. So here's my thing with that. You'll never know unless you ask. So you will never know if a brand is willing to pay unless you actually ask. A lot of times girls are, and people in general, girls, guys in the industry are so scared to ask for money because they don't know how, or they don't know if it's going to be worth it, or if they're going to like ruin a partnership or ruin something from that. But you will never know if a brand pays unless you ask. And that is just my word of thumb. To find paid partnerships, you have to ask for them. They're not going to come your way unless, you know, a brand does email you saying that they want to pay you. And it's a very upfront thing. If not, ask. And if they say no, there you go. You now know that the brand is gifted. A lot of times, if you have really great friends in the industry, they will tell you straight up if someone pays or doesn't pay. A lot of times before I respond to an email about a certain brand, I will ask some of my friends that have worked with them before if they've paid, and if not, then I decide, okay, do I want to take this on, or is this a brand that I love that I would be willing to create free content for, stuff like that. So yeah, that's my word of thumb. You'll never know unless you ask. Okay, these are good. How long did it take you to get to where you are now? So I think I started my Instagram journey last August. It was in 2020. Yeah, I think it was 2020. It was like right when the pandemic hit. And so it's been, you know, a little over a year. And I will say that where I am now, it took a long time, and it took a lot of freaking work. That kind of stuff, unless you blow up very quickly through Instagram pushing you, it takes a lot of work. I will say that there's not like one certain tip I could give for like how easy it is to grow fast or blah blah blah, but I will say it took me about a year and a half to get where I am, and I started my journey with like 2,500 followers. Yeah, 2,500, and I'm at 12.3. So I'm very thankful and very grateful to my community that follows me, that supports me, and I am just like overwhelmed with how much growth they've had in the past year. It's not as much as I want, but you know what? I take every milestone as it is, and I appreciate it as what it is, and I look forward to the next year of new goals. Okay, another one was suggestions for photo places in a small town. How do I spice it up and keep it interesting? Okay, so I have a very interesting opinion on this. I think that more simple and more lifestyle everyday is what is in right now, and don't come for me. This is just what I've been researching. I am a social media manager, so I'm constantly researching things, seeing things on TikTok, listening to people that are in the industry, seeing how the industry is moving towards. And I will say that the kind of overdone photos where it is like crazy angles and, you know, settings and all that are going to really easily go out of style. And in 2022, people are moving towards more lifestyle rather than aesthetic, and I have seen videos of people saying that aesthetic will hurt creators in 2022 because of that. Because people are looking for more now someone that is relatable, someone that if they see a photo that they like, that they can recreate that photo, they can recreate that outfit. Very simple. So that is what people are looking for. That is what people want. So for places in small towns, I absolutely love simple ones, like standing in front of a really cute storefront, or even standing like in a coffee shop, or, you know, I'm very simple, so it might not be the best person to ask on like photo locations, but I constantly try to just switch up between like 3 or 4 photo locations. For example, I literally went to a museum the other day, and, you know, if you don't have a museum, like, you can at least go somewhere like a record store shop, or, you know, something very fun but still relatable to people, that they can still go and find something like that in their, you know, community. But I think keeping it simple is the way to go. So don't stress about, you know, a small town and thinking that like you don't have a ton of options. I think that having a simple amount of options is great, and I think that that's where people are moving towards. So, you know, you want to jump on that train now and get ahead of it while you can. Okay, someone asked about hashtags. Hashtags are a whole separate category in itself. I will say this, and this is something that I have recently discovered about hashtags, and a lot of people don't know this because it hasn't really been talked about that much, but I have done a few of my research, stuff like that, and I find that hashtags work if you are using them in the right way. So a lot of times, this is what I was just talking about with one of my friends. I was saying how a lot of times girls will post on TikTok this long list of hashtags that got them somewhere or got them reach, and that is, don't do that. Like, let's not do that, because sometimes what happens is girls that have a very different niche than you, such as it's very lifestyle, or it's very, you know, bikini photo, or it's, you know, street style, and someone posts a long list of hashtags that include like cottagecore, aesthetic, Parisian style, stuff like that, it doesn't match up. So then those hashtags are not going to do well for that girl, because, or that photo, because they don't relate to that. So focus on almost describing your photo in hashtags. Also, if you go to your explore page and you look at the words that pop up underneath the search bar, those words are what I use to put into my hashtags. So I will come up, I will pull it up right now so I can kind of like gauge with you what I'm talking about. But I will go to my explore page, and that is like at the very top. I know you really can't see it that much, but there is words, and I utilize those words 100%. Now, let's say that your words are like way out there, like nothing to do with like what your Instagram is about. Don't obviously use those, but mine are like minimal style, neutral style, street style, outfit inspo, outfit inspiration, fashion inspo, fashion style, winter outfit, effortless chic. I use those as hashtags on my post because those are popping up as keywords underneath my search bar, and I'm utilizing those. Obviously, if like my photo is very different from any of those, I will not include some of them, but for the most part, that is my style. That's what I like post. So that is what I will be using on my photo. Keywords, I have this thing in my head that keywords get you on the explore page. I don't know if that's true. No one's proven that, but I feel like it could be. So I am using all the keywords possible. Instagram is not an SEO search engine in any way, as much as like Pinterest would be. But if you think about it, like you're plugging in words that people are searching, and that's how, you know, Instagram's gonna show your content to people. So think of it that way. So that's what I use for hashtags. Then after I use those words as like the first half, the second half of hashtags, I will use whatever is in my photos. Like if I'm wearing a New Balance sneaker, I'm going to include maybe like what the New Balance is, or if I'm wearing like a dress, I could do like a winter dresses, or black dress, a black winter dress, something like that. And I think that that's really helpful too, to kind of do both, is to use those broad keywords but also use very specific ones, and that is what is working for me. It might not work for you, so don't hold me to it, but it could help you gauge like what you're supposed to be using. What is your best advice to shine through and grow a community of people like you? Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like I have built a very amazing community, and that is because I support others as much as they support me. So, and even that, like, I will support people even if they don't support me, if I love them. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is like, your community is only as strong as you make it. And that being said, like, if you don't ever interact with your community, you don't ever ask them questions, you don't ever get to know them, you don't ever get to know like what they like or what they don't like or what they're interacting on your page for, anything like that, then you're not going to build a strong community. I interact with girls that are very similar to me, that are, you know, that like the same stuff. Yes, there's a lot of girls on my, you know, that I follow that support me. We don't have the same style whatsoever, but I still love them and I support them in any way I can because they, you know, are amazing people. But for the most part, the way I built my community was literally just leaving nice comments to people, not expecting anything back from them other than just trying to, you know, put a nice comment on someone's Instagram photo if I really do like it. And also just being supportive no matter what. We're all in this together. Content creators work really freaking hard, and I always want to support everyone that I follow because I know how hard it is, and because I work in the industry. So I always try to, you know, interact with people, but it's building a community is interaction, and it is building a relationship. If you are on Instagram and you are not focusing on building relationships with people and not getting to know them and not messaging them or not asking questions or not seeing what your audience loves or, you know, anything like that, then you are missing the mark on Instagram, and Instagram, you will not grow, period. Because Instagram growth has so much to do with, yes, the algorithm, and yes, creating great content, but it's also building that strong community so they will support you and you support them. That's what an engagement rate is. You interacting with somebody else and then they interacting with you. I saw this amazing TikTok of this girl talking about how it's like a strike system. So Instagram kind of gauges an engagement rate off of, okay, you interact with this person, they interact with you, that's 1 tick. They do, like, you keep doing it and it's like a tally. It's like, okay, this person has interacted with this person 4 to 5 different times. They've interacted back as well. That's a good interaction. That's a good engagement. So if you are literally one-sided, your engagement rate is going to be horrible because you are not interacting with others. They're interacting with you, but you're not interacting with them. So that's good to know on how to build like a strong community. Okay, another great question. How to not get discouraged when a post you worked really hard on doesn't perform well. Here's the thing. It's kind of 2 ways. So I have learned to move on very easily because I've struggled a lot with Instagram, realizing that like everyone's journey and everyone's like photos are going to do different than other people's. I don't want to get discouraged because here's the thing. This is what happens with me. I don't know if it's with a lot of other people. The day of that I post an Instagram photo, it could do pretty bad, and you know, it is what it is, and I'll move on. And then because Instagram is not in chronological order, people are seeing this post days and days and days after. So you kind of want to give yourselves a little bit of a break as to say, okay, this might not have done well right now, but maybe maybe it'll do better in the next few days. And if it doesn't, unfortunately, it happens. A lot of the times it could be because Instagram just is not pushing that content out. And there's a certain, reason for that, or it's because people just really didn't relate to it. And you kind of have to look at it both ways. Is like, you might absolutely love that photo and that might be like something you worked so freaking hard on, but it might not resonate with your audience, and that's okay. You want to post a lot of what you want, but you also want to post what other people want to see. So there's a good balance, but don't be discouraged. I actually try my best to just move on, and if I see that a post is maybe doing bad, I'll go to my explore page and I'll interact with a ton of new accounts, and maybe they will come to my page and find that certain photo and comment and like on it, who knows. But I've learned to just move on and be okay with the fact that it didn't perform as well as I wanted, and maybe just readjust. Okay, like, what could I have done better? What could I have adjusted? Or just take pride in the fact that you worked really hard on that, and that's okay. It might have been just Instagram that day that wasn't on your side, unfortunately. Okay, and someone asked, how do you increase engagement? Like I said before, increasing engagement is utilizing polls and questions on Instagram, as well as interacting back and forth with people on your home feed, as well as your explore page. The more you interact with people on your home feed and the more that they interact back with you, the better your engagement rate will be. And also just obviously utilizing certain things for Instagram, such as like, you know, stickers, polls, all of that, to have people tap and, you know, actually vote on something or do something like that. I found that that has really helped me. Also commenting back on comments that people write on your photos. I had such a hard time with this. I literally barely have time nowadays to respond back to comments. I try my best to do it within a week of them, like of the photo being posted, but it's very hard sometimes to sit and like respond to comments. But I know it's important, and I appreciate everyone that comments, so I try to do it as much as I can. But that is a great way to keep engagement rate, is to like engage back with that comment. So prioritizing engaging on your home feed, prioritizing sometimes engaging on your explore page, and commenting back to people, as well as utilizing Instagram features on stories is a great way to increase engagement. Okay, someone asked, how do you know when to start charging for content you make? Okay, so this was hard for me because I actually didn't really have like one set thing of like, oh yep, this is when I'm gonna start charging. I think it's when you realize your value and you realize that like your content does well and that you provide value on the internet to somebody, and that your, you know, audience is very engaged and your audience is liking what you're posting. I think is when you can really start to gauge, okay, like I think I could really get paid for this. You know, a lot of times girls ask maybe too early for payment when they haven't really built up a community or a feed or kind of established who they are. And so brands are confused when they come to their page. So obviously if a brand is confused, they're not going to want to pay you. So I think you can gauge when you should start charging on, you know, how confident you feel in your content, how confident you feel in your community that they will interact with it, and then also how confident you are in like the overall look of your feed. And then from there, I think you can really say like, I bring a lot of value to, you know, this app, and I want to start charging for my content. Someone says, how do you get past the barrier of fear when posting and you're not an influencer, just a normal person who is passionate? I feel so judged for no reason. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a whole other, I feel like I need to film a whole other video about this, because I was actually very passionate in middle school and high school on being creative. I think that being creative being passionate about being creative and taking photos is not anything to feel bad for or be judged for in any way. First of all, like, everyone is going to have an opinion about you, and I think you just have to decide what your worth is and what you feel is making you the most happy, and then just going for it. I know a lot of times like it's scary to do that because you don't know like what people and how people can react to that, but I will say I would never ever like judge someone off of being creative. Everyone has different talents and everyone has a different like avenue for their life, and if you are very passionate about posting outfit photos and you're not an influencer, you're just wanting to post a post, then absolutely go for it. I was obsessed with fashion in high school and middle school. I wanted to start a YouTube channel so incredibly bad. I didn't want to be an influencer. I just wanted to, you know, be on YouTube. I just wanted to post whatever I wanted, and unfortunately I didn't do that because of like my circumstances with my high school experience, and that is for another video. Who knows when I'll make that, but it's a very soft topic. But I will say, like, I wish I had gotten past the judgment phase of realizing that like you don't have to be an influencer in order to post photos and be creative. Like, that is absolutely not it. And to be honest, I was in a very creative job for a long time, and I was not an influencer, and I was posting outfit photos just because. I think that there comes a point where you realize, okay, like I actually really love doing this as like showing and sharing with other people like what I love, and if that is the case, go for it. If not, and you don't want to do that, then don't ever feel pressured to do that. I think that being creative in a creative space and, you know, posting what you love. And if you are passionate about fashion and all that, I have so many friends that are very passionate about fashion and lifestyle and taking pictures and posting their outfits and all that, and they're not an influencer and they don't want to be an influencer, and they really just enjoy what they love. And so I would say, don't be afraid to share that. Don't be afraid to show that. People will always judge you no matter what you're doing. I get judged all the freaking time for being an influencer, or content creator in general, and I've had to get past that. I've had to learn everyone's gonna have an opinion about you. So the only opinion that matters is what you think of yourself. And, you know, I think that whatever you post and whatever you feel passionate about, go for it, because you are wasting time if you are not posting what you love or not, you know, doing what you love. So that's my advice. Have you ever felt like giving up with Instagram and influencer life? And if so, what has kept you going? Gosh, I have had points in my life that I have felt like giving up, but let me tell you this, and I don't know if this is relatable to a lot of people, but I am someone that absolutely does not give up unless it is like physically something that I cannot do. I don't do that. And for me and my job, I am so incredibly passionate about what I do. I feel like it is literally meant in my blood to do this, that I don't ever think about fully giving up. There's a lot of times where I get very discouraged and I feel like, is this the right path for me? Is this what am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Then I'm always reminded by so many people in my DMs and my followers and people around me in my life that have supported me that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, that they see me very passionate about it and I see growth from it. And I just realize that like I'm so incredibly blessed in my life to do something that, you know, I was created and put on this earth to do, and I really feel that. So that's what makes me not quit, is knowing that I'm in the right spot, and like if I wasn't supposed to be, then I wouldn't be here. And you know, everything in my life has led me to this point. There's so many things, and I would love to go into detail, but it'd be such a long video. But I feel like God really has put me exactly where I need to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And as long as I'm supposed to be doing it, He will provide, and He will bring those people to my page, and that's what helps me not give up. So I don't know if it's super relatable, but I'm just a type A personality. I'm a hustler, I'm a go-getter, and I do not quit. So yeah, that's literally it. Okay, someone asked, what website do you use for your blog, and how do you get started blogging? Any advice? So I use I use GoDaddy for my website. It's not great for blogging, so I will say that if you want to start a full blog that's very professional, I would use WordPress. That is like the #1 website for blogging, and I wish that I had done that earlier and like paid for that, but unfortunately like my website has a blog little section, but I can't see analytics on it. I can't, you know, whatever. So I would say if you're looking for a more professional website, I would go for GoDaddy. If you're looking for more blogging, I would say WordPress. How I got started blogging was literally just starting one. I don't have like a lot of advice on that because I haven't done it for very long, and I haven't posted one in a while just because I've been really busy with like my work and clients and stuff. So I haven't really been able to like sit down and talk about it. I would say my friend Mackenzie, Styled by Mackenzie, she has a lot more information on about like blogging and stuff. If you want to go to her channel, I'll leave it down below. But she has so many tips on blogging, and she's like a big blogger, so she would have a lot more information than I would. Do 2 more questions because I know this video is going to get quite hefty long. How did you find clients through Instagram? I DM a lot of people daily, but no one is working. Okay, so this is really hard because I got a lot of my clients through collabs at first. Like I was collaborating with them on my influencer side, and then I got clients. They wanted to hire me on for social media. But I will say, like, you have to have, like, think of Instagram as like a portfolio. So if you don't have a good Instagram that stands out, that brands are gonna be like, oh, she knows what she's doing, then they're not gonna want to hire you. So I think the first step is to like backtrack and kind of create a website, create a Instagram for your business that shows like tips and tricks and obviously like an aesthetic that people can come to your page and be like, oh, she knows what she's doing. That has worked for me really well. I found clients through that, where they've seen like my page, they see like what I am able to create, stuff like that. And they can trust me. So I think that that's really important. And a lot of times brands, like I will say, maybe instead of DMing them, maybe ask for an email and then email them. I think that that might be a little bit more professional. And then that way you can include like your website, you can include like certain examples of like what work you've done, stuff like that. So I think that that's probably a good tip for that. Last question, because I know this is going to get so long. Everything on PR. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've never worked in PR until I got hired on at Maddox to do PR. And I will say, because I'm an influencer, I deal with PR agencies all the time. I deal with, you know, influencer coordinators all the time on my end. So work, you know, I think that it kind of was like easy for me to transition into PR because I knew what I was doing. I knew how to talk to influencers because I was one. So I know like what to say and what not to say. I will say that PR is definitely something you have to be very patient on. There's a lot of people on the internet, and there's a lot of people that are willing to ask and demand things, and you just have to be very professional about it. You have to be willing to, you know, put on a smile on your face from, you know, through an email, and not get upset or not get mad when, you know, something happens that's out of your control, or someone doesn't post on time or doesn't post at all, or, you know, you get ghosted, or you have to discuss something. It's very hard. Is that PR can be very hard. And that is not in any way of like it's a tedious task or anything like that. I think it's just because a lot of times you're dealing with influencers that maybe sometimes can give you a little bit of an issue or trouble. It can be hard, but for the most part, I've always loved the girls that I've ever like talked to or met, or, you know, PR agencies that have reached out to me, stuff like that. I don't have a lot of tips on like how to get onto PR lists. I've never asked that actually from a brand. I think I've just been put on them. But yeah, working in PR is great. I love it because I love making so many connections with girls that I haven't maybe connected with on my personal page. So yeah, that's it on, I guess, everything on PR. I hope that answers something. Okay, so I have answered so many questions. I hope that this helps you. I hope that this video was very insightful and that it gave you some tips and it gave you some insight into like something that you would want to know, or any questions you've been wanting to, you know, have answered, and I hope I answered them very well. Obviously, if you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comments, or you can DM me on Instagram. I always am in my DMs. I'm always answering questions or talking to you guys because I love talking. So, obviously, I will answer any questions that you guys may have, but I will also leave my pitching guide down below, as well as my ebook. I created an ebook if you're very new to Instagram. I created one for that, but I also created the pitching guide as well. And I will also leave Mackenzie's YouTube down below, because she has a lot of great tips on blogging if you're more into that instead of like Instagram content creation. But yeah, so I think that that's it for the video. This is gonna probably be really long, but I hope it was like insightful, and I hope that you guys got a lot out of it. And I think that that's it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.